Hi everyone, it's your favorite atomic blonde here. How you doing on this Sunday with a bit of Sunday lunch for you? So I hope everybody's well. You had a good week and the weekend's treating you well. So I did it. I finally managed to go see the Fall Guy. Yeah, so I had Friday off. As I've said, things have been pretty crazy right now, and I needed a day just to get a bit of extra sleep, if I'm honest. And just chill out a bit. And I got some stuff done on Friday, which meant it kind of freed up my weekend, which is amazing. So I can actually spend a bit of time doing some stuff on my channel for a change, which is really nice. So let's crack on, shall we? So yes, as I said, the Fall Guy. So I love David Leitch films. It's Leitch, I think. Leitch, not to be confused with Lynch. My channel's named after one of his films, Atomic Blonde. I absolutely loved, excuse me, hay fever, I got really itchy nose. Absolutely loved Bullet Train. Saw that at the pictures as well. You tend to find his films don't do that great at the box office. I mean, they do well. Obviously, they make enough money, but they're never like huge hits, but then kind of get a life of their own once they're on a DVD or 4K or whatever, they have a much better reputation once they've kind of left the theatre, which is kind of strange, really. And I love his films. I think they're well made, they're well directed. They have great action scenes. They're funny. They're just entertaining, and that's just something that's so missing from our entertainment. Our entertainment just isn't entertaining. There's never a lecture in sight. Yes, they have strong female characters, but they're quite fundamentally flawed characters, such as Atomic Blonde, and same in Bullet Train. The women aren't particularly nice people in that film, but it's really balanced. I just find these films are very, very balanced. Like the men aren't all idiots, the women aren't all girl bosses, they're just like normal, well-rounded characters, and that's why anything with his name on, I'll always give the benefit of the doubt. And I'm so thrilled that I actually got to go see this in the cinema. It was quite funny. I went to like the 10:30 in the morning showing on Saturday. Obviously, it's at the tail end, so needless to say, I was the only person there. Which was lovely, I have to say. Like my own, it's like having my own private screening of the film. It was amazing. So I'm sitting there by myself watching this film, chilling, no distractions or noise from anyone around me. It was fantastic, loved it. So what did I think? It absolutely, I say this a lot, does what it says on the tin. I think it was marketed incorrectly, like a lot of films these days. I think it was sold very much as sort of a blokey action film kind of thing. It's actually kind of more of a comedy action rom-com between Ryan Gosling's character and Emily Blunt. And these two have lovely chemistry. The chemistry is just brilliant. You can just tell watching this, they had an absolute blast making this film. It just come across like from the moment they got on the set to the moment they left, they were just laughing. That's how it comes across anyway. And certainly seeing them in interviews, doing obviously the junket tour, they seem to get on very, very well. But that really comes through. So for those who don't know, the Fall Guy was an 80s television show. All about a stuntman, but the stuntman, that was his primary job. But a bit like Murders, She Wrote, he always ended up stumbling across murders or something going on that he ends up investigating and solving. It was the 80s. It made no sense, but we didn't care. It was just fun, right? And it was starring the great Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man, on a Saturday afternoon. Probably there was Glenn A. Larson, I'm not sure. So it's probably Glenn A. Larson. It was like nearly all of these shows. I don't know if it was, but it was a great bit of fun. So I think part of the problem is that most people don't remember that show, or probably the age this is aimed at don't remember that show. And people aren't aware of the term the Fall Guy being slang for a stuntman. But in the terms of the film, it's meant two ways. So Ryan Gosling is playing Colt Stevens, which is the same name of the character from the TV show, and he's the stuntman to Aaron Taylor Johnson, who was also in Bullet Train, who's this sort of action star hero. He's meant to be sort of Tom Cruise levels of famous, doing all these action movies, and obviously Tom's renowned for doing his own stunts. So there's a bit of a whole thing, like he's like, yeah, I do my own stunts, but he doesn't, because obviously Ryan Gosling's character is his stuntman, and he's just a bit of an arse, basically. You know, he's portrayed as, I think, a very sort of stereotypical Hollywood a-hole, basically. You know, he's a prima donna on set. He's always going on benders or turning up late. He doesn't treat his stuntman very well. He's always too worried that, you know, that the stuntman's getting more attention than he is. So, and the film starts with him, like, we've introduced all these characters as a voiceover from Gosling's character Colt, and they're doing a scene, and we get the dynamic really quickly between him and Emily. She's like second unit director or camera person on it. They're obviously dating. They talk about going on holiday after the film's wrapped, and basically the Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, this is Tom, I think it's Tom Taylor, complaining that you can see like too much of Ryan Gosling's face in the stunt, so he wants it done again. And they do the stunt again, but something goes wrong and he breaks his back. And then we sort of cut to, he's like sort of stepped away from her. He's stepped away from his career. He's now being like a car valet. You know, he's just really sort of given up and feeling sorry for himself. I mean, he can still walk. He's not paralyzed or anything, but yeah, he's just like kind of turned his back on everything. And like Emily Blunt's character, Jodie, she's like tried to be there for him, and he's just like shut her out and walked away. Then he gets a call from Hannah Waddington's character, who's brilliant in this. I mean, I love her in Ted Lasso. Anyone who watches the channel knows I love Ted Lasso. She's just an absolute ledge. Hannah Waddington, absolutely love her. And she's this sort of vacuous Hollywood producer. And she tells him that Jodie specifically asked for him. She's doing the biggest movie of her life, this film called Metal Storm, which is just awful. And basically, if he can't come out and help her finish the film, like this is like supposed to be like some huge sci-fi budget thing, and it's going to be in Comic-Con Hall H, and so he kind of gets his stuff together, and she flies him out, and it's all being filmed in Australia, so he flies out to Australia, and then when he gets there, basically you find out that Tom's gone AWOL. She wants him to try and find him. And Jodie never asked for him to come out in the first place, because she's absolutely like heartbroken. And then the story kind of goes from there. So it's him like sort of almost trying to get Jodie back. He's trying to find Tom, because basically they can stall for like a couple of days while he films all the stunts, but then they need Tom back on set. And as we go through, Colt ends up getting framed for a murder, and all this stuff unravels. There's some amazing, as you'd expect, practical stunts in this film. You could probably say, I think some people say like they probably overdid it a bit, you know, because I do agree the film's probably 20 minutes too long. It could be a lot tighter. But some of the stunts in it are just absolutely amazing. And then, you know, as ever, at the end of the film, when you've got the end credits, they're actually showing you the real stuntman doing the stunts. And, you know, and Ryan seems to do quite a few of his, like, on wires and stuff, so fair play to him. And then there is a mid-credit, great cameo. I didn't know it was there. And it's not rocket science probably to figure out who the cameo is, but it's worth sticking around to the mid-credits. So I think that's my main criticism of this, is it was just, like, sort of 20 minutes too long. I just spent a bit too much time on a few areas, like sort of almost dragging out the stunts a bit, really. And but other than that, I really, really enjoyed it. Like I say, it's just great fun. It's it's not the most complex. There's not loads of threads running. You've not really got to concentrate on what's going on. It's a very simplistic story. This guy's been set up. He's got to prove he hasn't done it. What's happened to the lead actor and all these kind of things. And obviously they do a great job of you rooting for Ryan Gosling and Emily, and absolutely like loathing Aaron Taylor Johnson's character Tom, who's a complete douche. And I'd say Hannah Wadd's in it is just brilliant. There's this very stereotypical Hollywood producer who doesn't care about anything other than the money in the film, and people are just sort of commodities. Yeah, I'm really chuffed, really pleased. I managed to carve out the time to go see this in the cinema just for the stunts alone. I mean, it's one you can easily watch at home, of course it is, but obviously when they're doing such big stunts and things, it's great. And also I think it's just really good to support good films, right? We just don't get a lot of good films. So it's a shame they opted to, I think it's Universal, but opted to put this on video on demand so quickly. I think it was like within 19 days in the States. I mean, it's only just gone on to video on demand here. You can get it through Prime at the moment. As I said, it was cheaper for me to go to the pictures than rent it, so that's why I did. And I say I did want to see it on the big screen as well. But yeah, really, really enjoyable, fun film, perfect for a Saturday. Just stick it on Saturday afternoon, evening. I think it was 12A, so yeah, there wasn't a lot of language or anything like that. So great family film as well, actually. A lot of fun if you obviously like 12 and above. Yeah, really, really enjoyed this. So big thumbs up. I will be pre-ordering the 4K for this one, definitely. Definitely would rewatch this. Put a smile on my face, and came out of the theatre, just what I needed. Completely, I'd say, just chill out, have some fun, lose myself in a film for a couple of hours. Absolutely perfect. So go check out the Fall Guy. So complete change of tack here in terms of genre. So I watched Abigail. Again, this is currently, I think, on in some theatres, and it's also on video on demand. It is a horror film. So this is very much in the vein of it really it's kind of like From Dusk Till Dawn meets The Usual Suspects. I know, right? Crazy. And what I mean by that is it starts off with like one sort of genre of film. So we've got a group of criminals, for lack of a better term, who have all been brought together as a gang. They don't know each other. They've been brought together for this job. They're going to kidnap this girl, Abigail, who all we know is that obviously her father's very wealthy, so they want to kidnap her for a ransom. They're all going to get paid $7 million each for this job, so it's pretty huge. There's obviously reasons why they need to be there. And she's as it leans into very much into the trailers or even the posters. So she's into her ballet. So she's at a theatre. She's practicing ballet on stage, sort of doing Swan Lake. She's sort of this teenage girl, sort of maybe 13, 14. And the gang kidnap her. The job all goes well. They take her back to the sort of safe house, which is this massive house somewhere. Obviously, they've been hired to do this job by someone. And they get back to the house. The girl's drugged. She's tied up in one of the bedrooms, and all seems kind of normal. So I'm just pulling up some names here. As you know, I am terrible. There's some recognizable actors in this, actually, very recognizable, actually. So the heading up is Dan Stevens, who plays Frank. Dan Stevens is obviously the British actor who you would know from like Legion, the TV show. He was in Downton Abbey, but he's predominantly got like quite a big career in the States now, really. I'm trying to think what else he's done quite recently. Of course, yeah, he's in Beauty and the Beast. He's probably known for more things here in the UK than in America. It was in Godzilla versus Kong. What else would I know? Cabinet of Curiosities, that was very good. So yeah, I think most of you will probably know Dan Stevens. So he's sort of heading up the crew. You've then got Melissa Barrera, who plays Joey. She's kind of like we kind of studied that she's some sort of a doctor or has some medical experience, so she's monitoring and looking after the girl, making sure that she's okay. Durand, who plays Peter, he's like Resident Evil. He was in The Strain. He always plays a bit of a weird, off the wall kind of guy, a little bit like, you know, not quite okay in the head. And then Catherine Newton, who, oh gosh, I think this is the first role I've seen her in where she's not playing some woke girl boss type character. So good for her. She played Claire Novak in Supernatural, one of the worstly written characters ever in Supernatural history. Couldn't stand her. She was also playing Scott's daughter in Quantum Mania. So yeah, so you kind of get the gist of the sort of characters she normally plays. Very relieved to say no girl boss here, like very normal. And then Giancarlo Esposito, who I was talking about the other week, who just joined Brave New World, also has a small role in it. So quite a well-established cast. And I have to say, the person that played Abigail, Alicia Weir, who I'm not familiar with, done a really good job. She's very good in it. So we've kind of got this whole heist thing set up. The girl's now being kidnapped. The little girl is obviously terrified and she's crying, and Joey's gone in to see her, and the little girl gets her to like sort of pinky promise that she won't let the bad men hurt her, and she's like, no, I'll protect you, don't worry, as long as your father pays up, everything's going to be okay. And then very quickly things start to unravel, and Abigail says to her, just as she's about to leave the room, I'm sorry for what's going to happen to you. So Joey goes down and she speaks to Frank and says, who is this girl, and who is her father? And he's like, why? And she said, well, she said this to me. Who is he? And it transpires that I can't remember the name. That basically she's the daughter of some almost like mythological gangster. You know, so like this is where the sort of the usual suspect bit comes into it. It's kind of like Kaiser Soze, right? They basically say this name and they're all like, oh my god, she's such and such's daughter, we're all going to die, what are we going to do? And then initially, like, they're like, we're out, we're going to go, but then there's like $7 million on the table, and then it's like yeah, they're all like, okay, let's not panic, let's just let's all just leave, and we'll phone the police and they'll come and leave us some food, police will come and get her, and then none the wiser, and they're like, but we're already screwed. And then when they try to leave, all the house locks itself up, all these shutters drop, and they're basically sealed in, and they're like, what the hell's going on? And this is where the sort of from dusk till dawn bit kicks in. Very like, basically Abigail is a vampire, and this is a whole setup to basically get these people in this house to, first of all, kind of get revenge, but also Abigail likes to play. She goes, I like to play with my food. So she likes to play games and basically starts taking them out. And again, a bit like the usual suspects, you find out why these specific people have been invited there in some way or another. They've all crossed her father and have wronged him somehow, whether they knew it or they didn't know it. And that's why they're all there. And then obviously it all plays out about them trying to get away and trying to kill Abigail. And then kind of what happens over the course of this like sort of 24-hour period. So yeah, I mean, it's quite an enjoyable little film. Say not the best horror film I've ever seen, certainly not the worst. Some say very good actors in this, so it's all quite, I don't say like believable, it's not a believable story, but because of the quality of the actors, you kind of buy into what's going on, sort of genuine fear, and they're all like, obviously they're all criminals, so they're all like backstabbing each other, you can't trust each other. Abigail's playing them all off against each other. As it kind of works its way through, and like who's going to survive, who's not. Quite a good twist towards the end. Yeah, so I quite enjoyed this. I mean, I knew. I mean, I'd seen a trailer when I went to go see the first Omen for this, and it looked. I was like, oh, that looks all right, you know. But I didn't really know a lot about it. I hadn't really looked into it any more than that. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised, actually, that it was quite an enjoyable little horror film, you know. Again, quite a good one for just sort of sticking on a Saturday evening. Like, say, if you like From Dusk Till Dawn, you like The Usual Suspects, that kind of thing. I think you'll enjoy. If you like your vampire films, you'll enjoy this. Like I say, it's not the greatest film I've ever seen, and it didn't like blow me away, but it was enjoyable. It's quite a harmless little film, quite an interesting like twist on the genre. I'd say very From Dusk Till Dawn-esque. I mean, Dusk Till Dawn is just legendary. It's head and shoulders better than this film. And if I was going to recommend a film, I'd always say watch From Dusk Till Dawn over this. But if you've seen From Dusk Till Dawn, maybe go check this out. It's better than From Dusk Till Dawn sequels, I will say that. But that's not massively hard, but it is better than that. But I quite enjoyed it. Again, for the genre, does exactly what you want it to do. And I say the young girl that plays Abigail, who's obviously actually hundreds of years old, she plays it really well, the way she sort of switches from this frightened little girl to this monster who's then sort of teasing, and is obviously her maturity is actually much more than what she looks. So that kind of old head on young shoulders. I think kind of kudos to the actress. She was very good in it. And yeah, I guess keep your eye on her career. But nobody was like, I mean, I don't think anybody was particularly like girl boss in it. The lead character, well, it's kind of like between Frank and Joey, like who's the lead character. You know, she's quite flawed in it. You know, there's a reason why she's on the wrong side of the law. She gets the crap beaten out of her. But she is a little bit sort of take charge at times. But then if she was a doctor, you know, that's kind of be part of her psyche, that in a crisis that she's trained to kind of take charge. So again, it kind of makes sense that the way she sort of steps in and does things, it wasn't jarring, kind of going, oh, you know, so quite quickly, not too long as well. And I think that's why this worked. Yeah, so Abigail, go check it out. Check it out. Yeah. Okay. Yes, so we've obviously had the teaser trailer. Now we've had the trailer for Alien Romulus. I have to say, I'm looking forward to this film. I know there's a lot of doubters out there, and I get it. It could just be a complete retread, but with horrible girl bosses version of Aliens. Could be. But you know, I've got a bit of faith in old Valdez. I think he will do a better job than that. I'm certainly hoping he can, if he's left alone to make the film that he wants to make. But I really enjoyed the trailer. I mean, that whole kind of bang, that knock, you know, that kind of crunch, the banging noise, and it turns out to be like the alien, like fighting it, and it sort of shone this light kind of thing on it, almost like an X-ray thing, and you can literally see the alien trying to get out the chest. I mean, that's something we've never seen from that perspective before. Obviously, we've seen it rip out, but to see what's happening inside as it's trying to gnaw its way out or break its way out through the ribs, it was like, oh man. So that looked pretty cool to me. Sorry, I mean, yes, people going, oh, they've got the same noises and the same look. And to be fair, it should look and feel very similar to Alien if it's set just after Alien, but before Aliens. You know, if it's the same time period, things should look similar. I know, unlike bloody J.J. Abrams or Discovery and that, even though or Strange New Worlds. That's the one I was looking for. You know, it's supposed to be set before Star Trek, but everything's far more modern and glitzy and shiny. It's like, what the hell? You know, aesthetic's completely wrong. But let's not go down that route today. So for me, if it looks and feels very similar, I think that's a good thing. I'll say I'll only be really disappointed if it's just a badly kind of retread of Alien. But already just that little snippet in the trailer looks like they're trying to bring something new, a different aspect to what we've seen before. You know, we know, you know, there's only so much you can change it with what the but just a little thing like that you can actually see it trying to fly out of the chest was like, oh man, this looks good. And the face huggers, they're slightly different to what we've seen before, and man, are they fast. And it looks really atmospheric. It looks creepy as hell. It looks like it's going to be jump scares aplenty, right? End up landing in the lap of the person sitting behind me, I'm sure. Yeah, so I'm totally here for this. I'm fingers crossed that it's going to be good. It's going to be scary, and not a girl boss in sight. That's all I'm hoping for. Fingers crossed. I don't mind if there's a little bit of a retread, but as long as they bring something new to the table, maybe something that, you know, reinvigorates the franchise. We've also got the TV show coming later. I think it's this year, but it has nothing to do with the film. So there's a lot going on in this alien space. We haven't had a really solid sequel since Aliens. So, but, you know, I, for one, am open-minded. I'm definitely giving this the benefit of the doubt. I'm really excited to go see this. I will 100% be seeing this in the cinema and probably embarrassing myself. Because as much as I love a good like horror film and that, I jump scare really easily. I'm completely useless when it comes to that. So, yeah, someone will be wearing my popcorn, I am sure. I hope people give it a go. I hope it has good word of mouth, and it does well. But we'll see. Only time will tell. It could be an absolute disaster yet again, like predictable from start to finish. And it'd be interesting because I think, like I say, it's set after Alien, but it does bring in Covenant, I think. Because obviously last time we saw Covenant was like David leaving with all the embryos and stuff. So are these aliens anything to do with the embryos that David had, or is it to do with somehow they found the alien that Ripley blew out of the airlock? We don't know. There's kind of rumors. But I'm intrigued to find out. I'm really interested to find out if it manages to bring Covenant and Alien together in a good way. I think that's great. I mean, why not? I mean, obviously Prometheus and Covenant were massively disappointing films. I think Ridley kind of forgot what the point of Alien was, or the key story, and tried to be too clever with it all. But if somehow it can tie it all together in a very nice bow, then why not? Indeed. So yeah, excited for this one. As it says, 16th of August. That's the American release day. I'm assuming UK be around the same time. It's definitely August, if not the same date. So yeah, love to know your thoughts on this one. Are you just sick to death of sequels, requels, prequels, reboots, soft reboots? And I know I'm going to contradict myself now because yes, I am. But every now and again, we get a good one. We get a gem, and I'm hoping this is going to be one of them. So are you excited for this film, or is it just not your bag, or you just think they're just going to balls it up like everything else? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, and lastly, just sort of coming on, just before I jumped onto the stream, checking out the Doctor Who ratings. Again, they've gone down slightly, not massively, but 2.11 million. That's not good. They still haven't released the +7 for last week's episode. I haven't watched any reviews on last night's episode yet, so I think all I really am aware of, I think, is like the first Doctor same-sex kiss, I believe. If it fits with the story, it makes sense. Why not? I mean, I think obviously like Jack has kissed the Doctor in the past. I'm pretty sure of that. He kissed Tennant once or twice, but yeah, I don't know. It's like a period piece, sort of, it's, you know, leaning into the Bridgerton thing, I guess. But yeah, I've not watched any reviews. But again, the ratings have slightly dropped. They've only got 2 episodes left of this season, so it's going to be, I think it's like a 2-part season finale, which RTD's known for. You know, when we've done Stolen Earth and Journey's End. I know it's not going to be a patch on that. My absolute favorite. I still think it's the best season finale out of all of the seasons of Doctor Who. I absolutely love it. I think this is where we find. I think it's like we might find out who Ruby Sunday is. Obviously, they're hinting at she's some sort of demigod or god or something too. And I saw some rumors the other day that this sort of links in maybe to Pyramids of Mars. The one that waits could be. Who knows? Don't care, because that's an absolutely iconic episode of Doctor Who. If you've never watched classic Doctor Who, it's a Tom Baker one with Sarah Jane, and there's basically pyramids on Mars, which is like, there are pyramids on Mars, supposedly. And there's like sort of an Egyptian god who's been like sort of banished there, and he finds a way to get backwards and forwards to Earth, and obviously the Doctor has to stop him. Absolutely iconic, classic episode. Go check it out. You can watch it on iPlayer. But again, it's such an iconic one. There's just, if it is true, I'm sure they'll find a way to destroy and balls that up as well. So I'm hoping it's not connected to the Pyramids of Mars in any way, because it would just be something else that's ruined for us, I'm sure. But remains to be seen, and I think they'll be lucky if they keep the ratings above 2 million for the finale. The way these numbers are going, it looks like they've kind of leveled out at the audience that's going to watch it. But depending on this week's, and like I say, there is a gay kiss, and that won't be for everybody, I'm sure, but it could push that final group of people who are clinging on to not watch it anymore, depending on where they sit with that kind of thing. Time will tell, but this show is gone. This show is gone. It will be cancelled after the 2 seasons that Disney are making. Disney have no money. It's not cracked the Nelsons in the States at all. It's not in the top 10. And I saw a great breakdown of this by Dr. Disaster the other day, who's breaking down the numbers. He's obviously American, so I don't really track how all this works, but it was basically sort of saying that I think it's something like 2.5 million people would have needed to watch Doctor Who to get into the top 10 of the Nelsons, basically. So we know that if we're getting that 2 million in the UK, they are not getting anywhere near 2 million in America. Because hence why it's not in the Nelson ratings. Obviously, there was a rumor from Doomcock that only about 50,000 people had watched it. So if it's not breaking the Nelsons, they are not going to carry on funding this show. Nobody's watching it in the UK. It's a sad day, you know. 61 years old, 60 years old, coming on 61 years old this year, and it's over. It's over. I've got to bring it up with me. Hold on. Hold that thought. Be right back. Oof, completely seamless. So yes, let me just full screen this bad boy up. There we go. So I have the Celestial Toymaker, William Hartnell season 1, still books. So I haven't even taken out the cellophane yet, look. So I will be watching this today rather than a New Who, because I like my brain cells intact. So yeah, so this is original season 1. There's only one episode that still exists. That's episode 4. So a lot of the classic era stuff, as you'll know, if you're a Doctor Who fan, they have been doing like animations. They cut the actual episodes that we have, then going into an animation, and then back to the actual footage that we have. Some episodes have been lost completely. Obviously, back in the day, in the 60s, there was no concept of re-showing these things, or obviously put VHS didn't exist. There was no concept of keeping things. So the film often got wiped and re-recorded over, or they got thrown away. They got thrown into like dumpsters and things. And some people did salvage them, which is actually still classed as illegal. It's still classed as theft, which is crazy because like someone's throwing it away. So there is like rumors that some of this stuff is in private collections, but people are afraid to say they've got it because it's technically committing a crime. But I think in the interests of posterity and archiving, I think these days, like the BBC was saying, look, we're not going to take any action for something that happened 60 years ago. It'd just be great to have these episodes back. So, but I love the fact that they are doing these animations again. Fans of a pain in the butt, right? And not everybody likes this style of animation. They prefer. I actually really like it because I kind of think it fits with the decade that it was made in. So you look at like in the 60s and 70s, the animation, the children's shows we had in the UK. I think it's very fitting with that kind of thing. So I love the style, I have to say, and I'm very excited to. So obviously, I was more excited to get this before the 60th anniversaries came out, and they're bringing the toy maker back. It was played by Ozzy Patrick Harris, and that was definitely, even though Neil Patrick Harris was brilliant in it as the toy maker. Go check out my review. It was lazy, badly written, and just signaled the death of my beloved Doctor Who. But anyway, let's end on a positive. I'm very excited to watch this. I will let you know what I think if you're interested. Hope so. But yeah, really excited to get this steelbook. So this is what we're doing this afternoon, everybody. Only 4 episodes for me to get through. Excited to see what they've done with it. And again, it's obviously, we've only ever had 1 episode, so I have no idea what was in the other episodes. I've never seen this story told end to end. So yeah, exciting. Yeah, I've been doing quite a bit of pre-ordering at the moment. There's some great stuff coming out in 4K. I have pre-ordered, and it's every time you sort of, they're all like 30, 40, 50th anniversaries, which makes me feel really old, but because I am old. But the 50th anniversary of Blazing Saddles, there's a steelbook special edition, loads of stuff to go with that. I have ordered that. I cannot wait to get that. It's so important, I think, that we get these kind of films on physical media. With the current, everybody's offended by everything and things being edited or literally not being shown anymore. It's so important that we have copies of this stuff before people get their hands on it. So I'm very excited, because it's a very funny film, well-made Mel Brooks film. The ending, I was always a little bit like, it's just descended into like just bonkersness now. I was never very happy with the ending, but I love the film overall, and the film overall outweighs the silliness of the ending, which I've seen repeated in other films over the years, so fine. Gosh, what else? I pre-ordered Terminator 4K. I pre-ordered that. That's another 40th anniversary special, I think. There's lots of I've pre-ordered, obviously it's come out 7, which is due out in December, I think. Steelbook special edition box set. There was like 2. The most expensive one I didn't get. That was a bit too expensive. But it was called What's in the Box, which is just brilliant bit of marketing. What's in the box? Love it. Yes, there's some great stuff coming out on 4K. I'm just so annoyed that obviously in the States, or I think in Europe, they've got the Abyss 4K with the special editions. We still don't have it in the UK because they couldn't agree on a rating, and the whole bit where the bit with the rat when it's breathing the water, or the breathing fluid should be cut or not cut, and they couldn't agree on it, so it's just not even been released in the UK. I'm really hoping that gets resolved, because I love The Abyss. It's one of my favorite films. Love the director's version. I have got a version, but it's not great. The ratio is kind of a bit weird, and so to have a 4K of that would be brilliant. So I'm hoping they get that sorted. And I was just in HMV the other day. Other retailers are available. I just picked up a couple of old ones. The Prince of Darkness to go with my other Carpenter films. So I've already got the Thing 4K. I love my Big Trouble in Little China film. So I picked up that, and I also picked up The Cabin in the Woods, which I also love. Very, very Joss Whedon. Obviously, Chris Hemsworth's in that. And it's something, it's one of those horror films that you're kind of watching it and then it pivots and you're like, this isn't the film I thought it was. And yeah, love that film. Love the mixture of the humor. It's very Joss, like the humor plus the sort of seriousness of what's going on and people dying and stuff. But I love that film. So again, pick that up on 4K. So some of these obviously I've already got on DVD, but but hey, I'm a sucker. I've completely been sucked into basically buying everything I already own on 4K again. So that's how it works, right? We start off with a DVD, then we bought the Blu-ray, now we're buying 4K. So that's how it works. But it's so important to have your physical media. Anywho, that's it. That's all I've got to say this week. If you want to know what I think about the Acolytes, there's a separate special, I don't know, Topic Pop Chat in the week on episodes 1 and 2. So go check that out. I'm not talking about it anymore. So go check that out. Let me know what you think about what I've talked about today. Have you seen The Fall Guy? Are you interested in seeing The Fall Guy? Do you like your horror films? Have you checked out Abigail? Did you like that? I mean, let me know. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Sorry, I have sort of noticed things flicking on and off here. My internet is playing silly buggers today. So sorry if the content or the quality of the video is not great. Hopefully it'll all be good, and I'll try and edit it as much as I can. But take care. Have a great week. I think I will be back with an Acolyte episode 3 review. We just know it's going to be bad in the week, but a week to go. Week on Monday. House of the Dragon season 2 is back. 17th of June. I am so excited for that. Yeah, I don't know whether I'm just gonna wrap the reviews into Sunday lunch or whether to do a standalone review, because I love that show so much, so I can just talk about it a bit longer. We'll see. If I've got time, I think I'm going to try and do a separate House of the D reviews, separate to my Sunday lunch, because I can't always be around for Sunday lunch. So, but I'll figure it out. I'll try and figure out the schedule. One thing's for sure, I haven't got to try and go, oh, do I fit in an Acolyte review or a House of the Dragon review? That's a no-brainer. So, anyway, take care. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.